Hello everyone, welcome, good evening, and a warm welcome everybody. Happy to see you, Raju, Prakash, Shweta, everybody, welcome. Pleasure to have you here for something that I don't think you've experienced, and you'll hear me talk about certain things today, which I don't usually talk about. Today is different. You see, ladies and gentlemen, today I want to tell you some things which are really personal and to some extent also very close to my heart. And कुछ चीजें ऐसी हैं which I need to speak for. Normally, Prateek, Khushi, Vishakhi, good evening everybody. Good evening. Good evening. Normally when we talk, it's all very logical, it's all very scientific, it's very practical. Practical और relevant बात हम करते हैं बहुत ज़्यादा. We don't spend time on any inspiration or motivational type stuff for the most part because we approach it in a different way. We approach it from the point of view of a psychologist. We approach it from the point of view of science for the most part. But let me ask you a question. This is a question for everybody, and honestly tell me, do you think that there is something in this world which is magical? क्या इस दुनिया में कुछ मैजिक या साइकिक या मिस्टिकल चीज़ें हैं जो हम जिनकी एग्जिस्टेंस के बारे में कोई कॉन्फर्मेशन नहीं है बट वो शायद हो सकती है? डू यू थिंक दैट देयर इज समथिंग गोइंग ऑन इन दिस वर्ल्ड व्हिच इज मिस्टीरियस? इज देयर अ प्लेस फॉर मिस्टरी एंड मैजिक एंड the stuff that we see, the stuff that we hear about, that mystifies us entirely? I'm not talking about ghosts or spirits. I'm talking about something else entirely, and I'm talking about something which is definitely beyond the realm of science, because I'll tell you it is not simple. You say that it exists. Shweta also says it, Venuka says it, Ishita is saying, Ashwa, I know you say it. But let me ask you another question. Telepathy. I don't know, Pratik, if telepathy is really something that works, but I'll tell you some weird things today, okay? I'll tell you the things which have happened. I will tell you how it happened, and I think my affair with this thing has been a long time coming. I was a very skeptical person. I was not a person who was very happy with ideas like these, but I was skeptical to the extent that I would rubbish them entirely. But there are some things which have happened. I think it is more than spiritual. अगर ये जो हम बात कर रहे हैं, अगर ये एक्चुअली में ट्रू है, देयर इज समथिंग मोर देन स्पिरिचुअल हियर. There is something which has actual force. There is something which has actual impact. It can move objects. It can make things happen. It can actually change the outcome of certain things. I'm talking about very relevant, very powerful things. I'm not just talking about thoughts. मैं सिर्फ thoughts की बात नहीं कर रहा. I am talking about things which can have an impact in our life. Things which can make things happen. Things which can make things जो नहीं होनी चाहिए. Some things which are just not logically feasible. उस टाइप की चीजें. I've had a long relationship with this topic. I have had a lot of time to refute it. I read a lot of books. I speculated. But at the same time, there are some things which I cannot deny. I have had certain experiences. And those experiences do not fall into the category of any normal explanation. That's a fact. Okay? I want you to be skeptical. I want you to think that not everything is magical in this world, but I also want you to know what is true from my point of view as far as I have experienced certain things. I cannot not tell you. I cannot say that they did not happen. I cannot not admit that they happened. So I'll tell you some of the things that happened. And I'll tell you one example which I mentioned in my email. I mentioned and I told you what exactly really happened with me. So this was about 3 years ago. I'll tell you the story in short. 3 years ago I was writing my first book. मुझे अपनी first book लिखनी थी. मुझे अपनी first book लिखने के time पर I've written the main structure of it और मुझे लगा कि मेरा काम हो गया है. मुझे लगा कि मेरा अब purpose solve हो जाएगा. My book will be out. I am a competitive person by birth. I am a little bit of a competitive person, but something in that happened. I don't know if it was psychology. I don't know if it was biology. I don't know if it was pure whatever. Maybe it was just something. But I felt for 6-7 days that I was not normal. मुझे बिल्कुल भी normal feeling नहीं आई. मुझे starting से ही 6-7 दिन पहले ही मुझे लगा I had a feeling कि कुछ होगा. I had a feeling something is about to happen. I've had the same feeling, I'll tell you one day. One day in my UPSC journey, it was the morning. I remember I was driving. It was Gadi. I had a car. Luckily, I had a Santro, and I was driving that to a coaching institute. I was, I remember where I was vividly. मुझे याद है मैं कहाँ पर था उस time पर. I was close to this old Rajinder Nagar वाला turn, and I was taking that turn, and all of a sudden, for no reason, I had two tears coming from my eyes. Two tears. I don't know why, but at that moment, I knew for some reason that I will get selected. ये मेरा काम हो जाएगा. मुझे पता चल गया था ये. This happened to me. In my bones, I knew that day, and this was at least 3-4 months before prelims. ये 3-4 महीने prelims से पहले की बात है. मुझे ये experience हुआ था, और उस दिन के बाद से मुझे पता था कि ये हो जाएगा. Another thing happened to me, and I'll tell you this also. I won't lie about it. I was preparing for my bodybuilding competition. तो बॉडी बिल्डिंग कॉम्पिटिशन वेरी हार्ड और बहुत सब्जेक्टिव होता है, और उसमें प्रिडिक्टेबिलिटी बहुत कम होती है. उसमें इट इज़ डिफिकल्ट टू से कि कौन जीतेगा कौन हारेगा, बिकॉज इट डिपेंड्स कौन कितनी तैयारी करके आया है या नहीं आया है. और बॉडी बिल्डिंग के टाइम पे यू आर पोजेस्ड वर्ड मैं बोल रहा हूँ. इट इज़ नॉट जस्ट, आई एम नॉट यूजिंग इट लाइटली. आई थिंक दैट देयर इज अनदर थिंग गोइंग ऑन अपार्ट फ्रॉम जस्ट मोटिवेशन हाई से ज़्यादा कुछ हो रहा होता है उस टाइम पे, मुझे लगता है. आई वॉज पोजेस्ड बाय दिस डिजायर, बाय दिस फियर ऑफ लूजिंग. बिकॉज यू सी, इफ यू आर गोइंग टू डू बॉडी बिल्डिंग में यू आर लिटरली नॉट वेयरिंग एनी क्लोथ्स एंड यू आर इन फ्रंट ऑफ द वर्ल्ड. यू डोंट वांट टू लूज. आपकी मोटिवेशन एक्सट्रीम लेवल पे होती है. आई वॉज देयर. I met this one guy. I met this gentleman, a very, very senior person. He must be around 65-70. And he used to read hands. He used to read palms. Some palmistry he used to do. But a very educated आदमी थे वो. Educated व्यक्ति थे. He was himself a IITian and but वो उनका शौक था कि एस्ट्रोलॉजी भी करते थे वो. तो उन्होंने मुझे देखा. I had a conversation with him, and at that point of time मेरे पेरेंट्स बहुत worried रहते थे. My parents used to be very worried about what I will do, because I was constantly focused on bodybuilding and I was not studying. I tell you that. आप लोग तो फिर भी बहुत सीरियस हो मुझसे, but my whole aim of life at that time was to win at bodybuilding and I wanted to be the best. Drive थी अंदर, but I had never won anything in my life. कभी भी मैंने एक्चुअली में ये एक्सपीरियंस नहीं करा था कि एक्चुअल सक्सेस किस चीज़ को बोलते हैं. नहीं, I had no idea. I met that man. He had one look at me. I did not tell him about bodybuilding. I did not tell him. He said, "You've already won." जो क्वेश्चन मैं उनसे मन में पूछने वाला था was, I have been preparing, मेरे लिए बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट कुछ है, क्या होगा, what will happen. He looked at me without a single question. ना कोई इन्फॉर्मेशन दी उनको मैंने, ना उनको कोई ज़्यादा डिटेल में. He said, "You've already won." That's what he said. These were his words. I quote. He did that. I have no idea how he knew this. This competition 10 days afterwards, I knew again in my bones. I knew. I won. दैट कॉम्पिटिशन. उसके पीछे बहुत मेहनत थी, उसके पीछे बहुत साइंस और बहुत साइकोलॉजी और सब कुछ लगाया था, बट एक एक्स्ट्रा फोर्स चल रहा था उसमें. ये एक्स्ट्रा फोर्स क्या है? व्हाट इज दिस इज आई थिंक, एंड दिस इज व्हाट आई थिंक. आई एम गोइंग टू गिव यू अ सॉर्ट ऑफ अ मंत्रा. आई गिव यू अ फ्रेमवर्क. इस मिस्टीरियस फोर्स को एक फ्रेमवर्क में हम समझ सकते हैं, और उस फ्रेमवर्क में इसको हम हार्नेस कर सकते हैं. वी कैन हार्नेस इट, एंड आई टेल यू हाउ टू डू दैट. This, I think the best way to do it is to consider it as a spirit. We see in horror movies, we see a lot of weird stuff in the horror movies. That is nonsense. उसको हम reject करते हैं एक बारी. Forget about it. Let us consider that there is an actual spirit. शायद वो spirit हमारे अंदर ही है, शायद वो बाहर से आती है, but वो positive spirit है. It's a positive spirit. Let us imagine. एक बारी उसको एक spirit. You know why I am saying spirit? Why I am saying it? Because एक external agency है वो. I want you to believe that there is an external agency which can be invoked. आपके beyond है वो. It is not just you, and it is not just the way you feel. If you add that, then you will become something else entirely. Let us consider that as a spirit, and I'll see. There will be a ceremony today. ज्योति, अभिजीत, सुजाता, एक ceremony होगी जिसमें हम कोशिश करेंगे उस spirit को बुलाने की. We will try to call it. हो सकता है अंदर आए, हो सकता है ना आए, बट आज हम ट्राई करेंगे और हम एक्चुअली में एक सेरेमनी आज करेंगे. विल एक्चुअली डू दिस सेरेमनी टुडे एंड लेट अस सी इफ इट कैन एक्चुअली बी इन्वोक्ड. तो जिसको बहुत ज़्यादा डर लगता है या जिसको बहुत ज़्यादा जो बहुत ज़्यादा स्केप्टिकल है उसके लिए नहीं है ये सेशन. इट इज़ फॉर दोज हु हैव एन ओपन माइंड एंड दोज हु वांट टू कॉल दिस स्पिरिट. So assume and understand that there is a spirit out there. This spirit can be called. Here is the problem. Here is the problem. The problem is everybody cannot invoke it. हर कोई उसको invoke नहीं कर सकता. कुछ लोग उसको invoke कर पाएंगे, कुछ लोग इसको invoke नहीं कर पाएंगे. And do you know why you can potentially invoke it? You know why? Because you have crossed a natural filter. आपने एक नेचुरल फिल्टर क्रॉस किया है. व्हाट इज दैट नेचुरल फिल्टर? आप अभी उस टाइम में हो, यू आर इन द टाइम ऑफ ड्यूरेशन दैट इज द मैक्सिमम पॉइंट फर्दर अवे फ्रॉम द यूपीएससी एग्जाम. यूपीएससी हो सकता है 24 में, यू वांट टू गिव इट इन 2024, मे बी यू वांट टू गिव इट इन 2025, बट दिस इज द टाइम व्हेन एवरीबडी इज एट द लेजिएस्ट. इट इज द टाइम व्हेन एवरीबडी इज एट द लेजिएस्ट एंड यू आर हियर लिसनिंग टू मी राइट नाउ. तो आपने हजारों लोगों में से एक नेचुरल फिल्टर क्रॉस किया है. There is a high probability that you will feel it. Today, something tangible, something powerful, something magical might happen. And be prepared for it. At the very least, it will be a very emotional experience. एक बहुत emotional experience होगा वो. I am confident that it will work. I am confident that it will work because I think that you are already crossing a certain एक point of seriousness तो आप में है ही, जो आप यहाँ पर हो आज. और उसके बियॉन्ड अगर कुछ हुआ तो हाँ कुछ होगा. हाँ समृद्धि, इट इज अ बिट स्पूकी एंड इट इज अ बिट फियर्ड. इट्स पार्टली साइकोलॉजिकल, इट्स पार्टली मिस्टिकल. आई डोंट नो व्हाट इट इज, बट कुछ तो है ये. आर यू रेडी? आर यू गाइज रेडी? वी आर गोइंग टू ट्राई टू इन्वोक द स्पिरिट. वी आर गोइंग टू ट्राई द इन्वोक द गुड स्पिरिट, द पॉजिटिव स्पिरिट ऑफ कॉम्पिटिशन. बट लेट मी वॉर्न यू, उस स्पिरिट को हम इन्वोक तो कर सकते हैं, बट फिर इट विल लीव यू वेरी रेस्टलेस. इट विल नॉट लेट यू बी इन पीस. वो आपसे काम करवाएगी. इट विल फोर्स यू, इट विल पुश यू. ओके, इट इज नॉट गोइंग टू बी जस्ट समथिंग दैट यू डू एंड फॉरगेट. अगर एक्चुअली में फील करा आपने इमोशनली, इफ यू लेट योर इमोशंस ओपन अप टू इट, ओपन अप टू दिस एक्सपीरियंस, देन yes, something might happen. Are you ready? All right. Okay then. We will now do a ceremony. I want you to sit comfortably wherever you are and just close your eyes. It's a bit of a meditation, but it's actually a ceremony. It's a bit of a meditation. You might say a guided meditation, but it's actually a ceremony. It's an invocation. It's an invocation which might change something. Let us see what happens. I've never done this before. But let's see what happens. Close your eyes. You might want to look at the screen, maybe do not want to look at the screen. It is up to you. But you need to close your eyes, sit comfortably wherever you are, and I am going to describe some things. I want you to imagine them. I want you to open your mind. I want you to open your heart. As I explain, as I describe, there will be certain emotions. I want you to feel the emotions completely. It will only work if you feel the emotions completely and you go with the flow. You trust the flow. You don't cross question it. Open your mind, you open your heart, and you imagine yourself. Imagine yourself. Imagine a day in the future. Imagine that you are lying on your bed. Visualize your bed. Think about how it is. Think about the experience of lying in it. You know how it feels. Make it real. Make it vivid. Think about the details. You're lying in your bed and you are browsing your phone. Like you normally do. आप अपने बेड पे लेट के अपना फोन को ब्राउज कर रहे हो. You are not doing anything particularly important or relevant, when all of a sudden you realize and you get notifications that UPSC has released the result. And you had appeared in the interview. You don't know whether you have passed or not. बट यू गेट टू नो कि यूपीएससी ने रिजल्ट डिक्लेयर कर दिया है, फाइनल रिजल्ट, नॉट प्रीलिम्स नॉट मेंस, फाइनल रिजल्ट, यूपीएससी की मेरिट लिस्ट रिलीज हो गई है। ये न्यूज़ फ्लैश आने लगता है हर जगह। यू आर लाइंग इन योर बेड एंड योर हार्ट स्टार्ट्स बीटिंग फास्ट, यू स्टार्ट टू स्वेट, यू आर नर्वस, it is the moment of truth. You've been working hard for it. You did not expect कि अभी आ जाएगा, but the result is here. Somehow you get out of bed, you jump out of bed, your heart is racing, you cannot feel your face, you cannot remember your name. All you know is that your result is here. Either your name is on the list or it is not. या आपका नाम उस लिस्ट में है या आपका नाम उस लिस्ट में नहीं है। इस चीज के बारे में सोचते सोचते आपको 1 साल 2 साल हो गए हैं। You have been waiting for this moment. You've been waiting. But it is here now. And you go towards your computer. You are going towards your system to check the result when somebody calls you. When somebody calls you. The call comes and it is your friend. Your friend said, Tera ho gaya. You've made it. You have cleared. Your friend tells you this. You cannot believe it. You cannot believe it. You freeze. You're skeptical. You think this is not true. This cannot be true. How can this be true? You cut the phone. You go onto the laptop. You open the screen. You see. You double check. You confirm. You go through the roll numbers. You don't find the roll number. You go through again the roll numbers and there it is. There it is. Your name is in the list. You have actually made it. You have actually cleared the UPSC exam. You've done it. It is there. Regardless of what you felt, regardless of what you know, it is there. You start to realize that this has actually happened. This has actually happened. You've come to realize that you have cleared the UPSC exam that you always wanted to do. You will now become an officer. ये सच में हो गया है. Take a moment to absorb this information. Take a moment. Take a moment to feel how this actually will feel in your body. You can feel it now. You can feel your heart racing. You can feel the jolts of electricity. You can feel electricity in your body. When you see this, you almost are brought to tears. You almost are brought to tears because of this thought, because of the significance of this thought, because how hard you had to work for it, how big of a thing it is, how big of an achievement it is. You know at that point that your life will never be the same. You know that it will never be the same. You know that you have broken some kind of a threshold. You call your parents. You call your parents. Imagine what you say to them. Imagine the words. Imagine the words that you will say to them. Imagine the response they will give you. They will not believe you at once. You will have to repeat it. You will have to explain to them again what you are saying. What does it mean that you have actually cleared the exam? You explain to them, and slowly it starts to sink in. Slowly it starts to sink in. You start to realize. You call your friends. You start to call your friends. Now stop and soak in these details. Soak in, be in this moment. This has actually happened. Stop and soak in these details and think that this actually happened. This has actually happened. This is what has to happen. Accept the reality. Know that it has happened. This is your reality. Make it real. It is real. This is what happens to you. Let it happen to you. Accept it entirely. Resist it no more. Be afraid of success no more. Do not question whether you'll be able to make it or not. This is the moment and it has happened. We don't know how it happened, but accept that it has happened. This is your reality. This actually has happened. You have cleared the UPSC exam. You have secured an All India rank. And all the emotions that go with it are going on in your body. Now, work backwards. Work backwards from that point. Work backwards from that point and imagine the interview. Imagine a tough interview. Imagine an interview for which you are not prepared. Then go backwards. Imagine writing mains. Imagine writing 27 hours worth of paper. Imagine writing 27 hours worth of paper Imagine the state of your mind when you wrote those papers. Imagine how you would write. Imagine how it would hurt your hands to write so much. Imagine this. Let it become real. Accept it. Accept it. Let it happen. Let it happen. Now, imagine backwards to prelims. Imagine going into that classroom. Imagine sitting in that classroom. Imagine seeing the paper, question paper. Imagine feeling nervous. Imagine controlling that nervousness. Imagine controlling that nervousness. Imagine being calm. Imagine being calm. Imagine doing what you could do. Imagine coming out with uncertainty. You don't know prelims का paper कैसा हुआ है नहीं हुआ. Imagine that experience. Now slowly as you come out of this experience, slowly open your eyes. As you come out of this experience, slowly open your eyes. Slowly open your eyes. This is your reality. And now it is up to you to make it happen. Your job now, your mindset now, your task now is to make sure this happens. You work backwards. This is already happening. ये decide हो चुका है. अब there are no questions about it. You have felt it in your heart. The spirit is here now. If it has entered your body, you would have gotten goosebumps. You would have gotten emotional. Kansha has definitely felt it. Now the question for you is this. If that is the future, what are you doing today? How does this actually happen? Now you make it happen. Now you don't ask whether I should give the UPSC exam or not. Now you don't ask whether I should give this attempt or not. Now you do it. Now you make this happen. And you try to understand and you try to figure out what will make this happen. You just work backwards. You do not work forward. You don't look sideways to your competition. You don't ask yourself what the other person is doing. Do I have enough time to prepare or not? You don't ask these silly questions. You ask the only question, if this is happening, what should I be doing now? What is it? And I'll tell you what you must realize. You must realize the one thing, this spirit, if it enters your body, if it enters your mind, if you let the inception happen, if you allow the message to go down into the subconscious mind, deep inside it, you open your minds, you will allow it to go deep inside. I'll tell you what will happen. You will realize the only way this will happen, the only way this happens is when you are the best. You will not think about what the other person is doing. You will stop thinking about the competition. You will start focusing only on yourself and you will realize कि मुझे बाकियों का ठीक है, मुझे बाकियों से थोड़ा नहीं बहुत ज़्यादा अच्छा करना पड़ेगा. I need to be the best. And you then become the best. You do whatever is needed to do to become the best. This is a different mindset. This is a different mindset. This is not the typical mindset of a UPSC aspirant. A typical aspirant will say, मेरा होगा या नहीं होगा. You are saying, मेरा हो गया है. I have to just make sure that it happens now. जो sacrifice होगा मुझे देना है उसमें मैं करूँगा. मुझे करना है जो करना है और मुझे पता है कि it doesn't matter. It doesn't really matter what I do, what I read, what I study. All it matters is there is going to be a UPSC exam. There is going to be a question paper. There is going to be me at this moment and I am clearing it. And I need to work backwards to how I clear it. That's it. You don't have to be good enough. You have to be the best. This is the level of competition that you are facing. This is the mindset of a person who will clear this. This is the competitive spirit. If you allow yourself to go into this mindset again and again and again, this is what will happen. This is manifestation. This is in the real sense, the possession by a spirit. If you become possessed, obsessed, your brain will do what it needs to do. It will automatically do what you have given it a task now. आपने अपने brain को एक reality दे दी है. अब उस reality को वो manifest करता रहेगा. वो अपने तरीके से करेगा. आपको पता नहीं है. You do not know what it will make you do. When we realize, जब हम realize करते हैं कि अब हमको कुछ करना है, we start to think logically कि अच्छा अब क्या करना है, and now you try to take the steps. This is different. Now you invoked your emotions. You have invoked something else. ये एक additional source of energy है. ये सोर्स ऑफ एनर्जी हर किसी में नेचुरली नहीं होती है. I have tapped into this emotional source of energy a number of times. I have seen the people who tap into it constantly get what they want. एक और दो लोग हैं, एक या दो लोग हैं अभी अभी I can tell you and I will bet that उनका यूपीएससी क्लियर होगा. I can tell you just you get to know this. You get to know this. This is the invocation. This is the invocation. This is what you use to bring the spirit into yourself. But I told you one thing, it is going to drive you scary. Now fear, it will use fear. ये जो spirit आपने बुलाई है, it will use fear to drive you. अब ये reality टूटनी नहीं चाहिए. अब ये reality टूटनी नहीं चाहिए. Now you are committed to it. अब आपने ये देख लिया है सपना. अब you have to make sure that you go ahead to it and make sure that you obtain it. Now your fear is not exam में क्या होगा. Your fear is this reality has to come true. In order for this reality to come true, you have to clear prelims. So you work backwards. Now your fear is this reality must come to pass. Right? It is not whether I will pass or fail. It is you are passing. How are you passing? That is just what you start to realize. Now, there is another important thing I must tell you about fear. जितने भी बहुत ज़्यादा ड्रिवन एस्पिरेंट को मैंने देखा है, I'll be very honest here, जितने भी बहुत सीरियस एस्पिरेंट को मैंने देखा है, they are driven by fear. झूठ नहीं बोलने की जरूरत, बहुत they are driven by paranoia, they are driven by fear. They do not rest. They don't rest. They don't stop. They keep pushing. They feel this spirit clinging to their throats. You understand what I'm saying? They do not let go. अब उनको बोलो रेस्ट लेने को, रेस्ट नहीं लेते. They have their questions ready for you. अगर आप उनको टाइम 1 घंटा दोगे तो वो 4 घंटे ले लेंगे. They will take everything they can. They will take everything they can. They want it. You understand what I'm saying? चाहिए उनको. उस चीज का कोई लॉजिकल एक्सप्लेनेशन नहीं होता है, बस चाहिए होता है उनको. हाउ डू वी, अगर वो इन्वोक हो गया किसी भी इंसान में किसी भी चीज के लिए, अगर वो स्पिरिट इन्वोक हो जाती है तो वो काम हो जाता है. That is what I'm saying. Now, fear has to be used responsibly. Fear has to be used responsibly. आपको जो fear है competition का, आपका जो fear है competition का, वो अब relevant नहीं है. Your fear is कि आपकी vision अब सच होनी चाहिए. अब आपने वो experience कर ली. This is what fear, this is how you treat fear. This is one of my favorite poems and it is a very strong mantra. Very strong mantra. When I read it, it gives me goosebumps. I must not fear. Fear is the mind killer. Fear is the little death that brings total obliteration. I will face my fear. I will permit it to pass over me and through me. And when it has gone past, I will turn the inner eye to see its path. Where the fear has gone, there will be nothing. Only I will remain. Only I will remain. This is your litany against fear. You need to use fear. You need to use fear. This mantra is saying you face your fears. I am saying you use it. You first control it and then you get it to do what you want to do. I think fear is very powerful, but it should not be using it. It should be pushing you forward, pushing you. Yeah, it's a Dune code and it's one of the best. This is called Litany Against Fear. And Frank Herbert wrote this. It's one of the best books ever written, but I have no time for that. Use your fear. Don't just tame it. Use it to push you ahead. Now your fear is your vision. You saw the vision. The spirit is in you now. And there is no future conceivable in which it does not come to pass. I don't know why this works. मुझे नहीं पता ये काम क्यों करता है. Honestly बताऊं मैं. I don't know why this works. It just works, okay? I don't know why it works. My best conjecture is that the mind is a pattern detector. If you give it a job, if you give it a super normal job, it will do super normal things. It will do super normal things to get that job done. And it is the seat of all mysticism. It is the seat of all power. It is the seat of everything. Do you know that humans do not really have any limits? कोई limits अभी तक clearly defined नहीं है humans की. बाकी animals की होती हैं. हमारी नहीं होती है. Apparently humans have no conceivable limit to what they can do, and this power is yours if you decide something, and if you really want something, if you let that spirit enter, if you let it take control. आपसे ऐसे काम वो कराएगी जो आप कभी सोच भी नहीं सकते. You will not be able to imagine. It will all seem very daunting. Logically इस टाइप के गोल्स को अप्रोच करना पॉसिबल नहीं होता है, but through these mechanisms, through this mystic route, this is the mystic route. What we normally talk about is the scientific route, it's the logical route, it's the strategic route. Today we are talking about the mystic route. That is your visualization, and by the end of this week I will be sharing a few more things. There are 3 new things that will be happening very soon. One, you are going to get a new oath. There is going to be a new oath, a more powerful oath. I realize that everybody has spent time trying to revitalize themselves. You'll be getting a new oath. I will be making announcements for a new special type of batch, something which has never been done, something which has never been done ever. We am going to do. Then there is going to be a distinguished personality, a very, very famous distinguished personality, a very powerful personality who will come on this platform, and they will engage with you. And we will have that conversation. All of this is happening in the next few days. All of these announcements will be happening. An oath will be coming, a new, very different, very, very, very different special batch. I will not tell you, these are clues. These are clues, eh? I will not be. First oath, Abhijit, you took the oath of commitment. This one is different. This one is more powerful, and it is going to shake you. It will shake you up, I'll tell you that much. That is what will be happening in the next few days. Stay tuned. I have woken you up from your slumber. Now you have the spirit. Let the spirit do its work. Let the spirit do its work, and just you wait. Just you wait. Everything will fall into place in a way you never thought. ये अगर काम होना होगा तो ये ऐसे ही होगा. This is the emotion, this is the energy, this is the X factor, this is what pushes you. So you use it. You use it. All right. Today, I was not your teacher. Today, I was perhaps a psychic or a shaman or something, but I'll tell you, this is psychology. This is a practice of psychology. This is part hypnosis, part mysticism, part genuine mystery. Genuine mystery. This is true. This has happened to me. I can't deny it. I'm just explaining what happened. Now you have seen it. Now maybe you have experienced it. Now you do what you need to do to make your vision come true. And I will see you soon. Thank you and good night.